Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And do you want to be the very best Hulk player like no one ever was? Then this video is absolutely for you. Of course, we already know by now that Hulk does damage based on HP, so we figured out the Urus. He does damage based on HP, so we've sort of figured out the ISO 8 sets. You go Power of Angry Hulk, or you go Protect the Captain, Binary Power, something like that. But we haven't yet figured out the custom gear. There are still a lot of speculation on why the custom gear should be this or should be that, should be this CTP or that CTP, and we have the CTP discount, so I decided to investigate. I'm going to be showing you clips throughout the video of CTP of regen runs. It was a mighty CTP of regen in this case that has all attack, all defense. The all attack doesn't matter, but the defense is nice. Regen is by far the best CTP for Hulk if you care at all about PvP. And it makes Hulk the only level 80 character and the only tier 4 character who can be used very effectively for both PvE and PvP with one build. That, my friends, is called a two-way character, and we haven't seen one of this magnitude since Spider-Man. So that's a really big deal to start comparing him to Spider-Man of about 7 months ago. However, not everybody cares about PvP. Not everyone wants to see their Hulk smash Adam Warlock's skull in, or Thanos's, so on and so forth. Some of you just care about PvE, and that's totally fine. So because of that, we have to investigate other options. And actually, one of the best options for PvP turns out to be this obelisk right here. And again, I'll run some clips of me clearing the same content to use as a comparison with the same team-ups and the same strikers, using this obelisk instead of a regen CTP. Now, this obelisk could be better. It's max HP with a max roll, because 30% is the highest, and it's a 200 proc, which is the highest. So this is actually very close to perfect, but the crit rate is unnecessary, right? The crit rate's nice, but it's kind of unnecessary. So you could actually roll an obelisk that instead has max HP and, of course, max HP, and then a 200 proc. That would be the holy grail. However, there are still other options. You could roll max HP guard break immunity and a proc, and then he could maybe be used for PvP. That's really cool. You could roll max HP, stun immunity. That's pretty good too. For Mephisto specifically, you could roll max HP, and then you could roll ignore dodge. That could be really good too, with a proc at the end. So you do have a lot of options open for you in the obelisk slot, but the main goal is to get at least one max HP roll. That's 25 to 30%, and then the proc in the 180 to 200% category. However, there is an issue. The playstyle with an obelisk is not as good as I would like it. Now, you can definitely make it work, but it's not my favorite, because the traditional Hulk rotation, or the one that a lot of players have adopted, has a lot of spam, because most players are using Hulk as a two-way character with a regen. So because of that, you have a very quick, 1 cancel, 2 cancel, 3 cancel, 5, and then you wait, and then you cancel that into 4. Now, most of the time, you can still land the proc on 4 there, but after that, it becomes, a chaotic mess of you trying to proc on the 6, delay, cancel 4. Now, you could quick cancel or instant cancel 6 into 4, but that's basically the issue. And so, I like the extreme obelisk. Don't get me wrong; it does good damage, but you have a situation where it's more difficult to play, and it sort of takes away the essence of Hulk, which is just like this massive monster who's going around slamming and jamming everyone. Trying to play a big green monster with finesse, it sort of sounds weird, right? So here we go. We got guard broken actually, so we don't even get the 5th skill off. We're gonna proc on 4. Okay, we're gonna run around. The other issue for Hulk specifically is that I think we were late on our proc. So we're just gonna do this, cancel this, and go into the co-op and try to proc on that. Like, you can definitely make it work. I definitely think you can make this work. That damage is actually very good. You can definitely make this work. Okay, I'm not saying that the obelisk is bad. However, the obelisk does have 2 distinct drawbacks. Well, 3 distinct drawbacks. 1, you can't use it for PvP unless you roll guard break immunity on it. Even then, I'm not sure if you can use it for PvP. That's the first drawback. The second drawback related to the first drawback is that he dies. He can actually die in content now, in PvE content. He's not immortal. It's hard for him to die, but if I was dying with my Hulk, who has almost 200,000 HP, then you're probably going to die with your Hulk, right? I have 40% or 30 or 40%. I have 30% defense on my cards, 86% HP on my cards, and I have an HP proc. So if your numbers are lower, then your Hulk, if he doesn't have a regen, is going to die more often if you're doing the same content. If you're not doing the same content, if you're staying at stage 9 or 19 of World Boss Legend, you're fine. He's never going to die. But I just want to make that clear for people who are wondering. He is capable of dying if you don't have the regen on. And that goes also for GBR. He's actually capable of dying in GBR with this obelisk. So that is the second and the kind of the big drawback of using an obelisk. And then the third drawback of using an obelisk is you have to proc. You have to try to proc. If you don't proc, you do lose a lot of damage. And then I honestly think that the gains that you're getting are negligible compared to the amount of defense and flexibility you get with a regen. Now, there is one thing I will say about the regen before we move on to our final testing, which is, of course, a rage CTP. With the regen, you have a situation where the difference between a mighty and a regular regen is almost non-existent for Hulk because you have to get a god roll on the mighty, right? On the regen, if it's mighty, because you need to roll all attack, all defense plus 20% to have a good amount, right? Or 16. 12 is not really enough, but I just didn't have a better option. Or you need to get a brilliant. So a lot of people have said, you know, hey, I don't have a mighty. Can I just use a regular regen? You absolutely can use a regular regen. Yes. You'll get almost the same results as I am. Again, it really depends more so on your card setup, right? If you really want Hulk to shine, you do need some HP on your cards. 30, 40, 50% is going to go a long way towards that. And it's a lot easier now with crafted stats. You can get 50% HP on your cards regardless of which 5 P cards you have. But yeah, as far as the regen goes, obviously you want to roll as close to 34% HP as possible. And then you do want to get that 10% heal with the 35% shield. That matters a lot. If you have a lower roll than that, it's not really going to work out as well, as effectively. And keep in mind that Hulk can still get guard broken by purple attacks. So the guard break immunity doesn't render him immune to those from Dormammu, from Gore, so on and so forth, from Mephisto even. So yeah. Overall, I would say more damage from an obelisk than the regen. Absolutely more damage, but it's harder to tell in certain content. Like it was harder to tell in GBR at some points, and it was harder to tell in Gore, but it was a lot easier to tell versus Mephisto. He was like 40 seconds faster versus Mephisto with an obelisk compared to with a regen, which was very, very good. So yeah, I do think the obelisk has a place for some Hulk players, but I don't think it's just the de facto best PvE option, especially since we're about to test Rage, but also since he has lower defenses and he has kind of a difficult rotation, which can be a turnoff for some players. So I definitely think that you need to approach the situation, and kind of figure out what is best for you. But anyways, now let's see, because I actually haven't tested it at all. Let's go ahead and see how Rage works. So first up, we have Gore stage 34. For those of you wondering, by the way, why I'm sitting down, I recently got an ultra-wide monitor and couldn't get to do the fifth skill. I was going to get guard broken. And I haven't quite finished setting things up. So yeah, things are just kind of, my studio is kind of all messed up. We're going to do 6 here and then pop into 4. That's really good damage. Wow. Yep, that's looking healthy. Yep, that's very fast. Wow. I'm just curious, he only has 195,000 HP now. So I'm just curious if his defenses are going to hold up. That's really the question I have. And you definitely want to let the 5th skill play out if you're not going to get guard broken, because it really helps you trigger your rage proc. See if we can push the next phase. Oh yeah, baby. Wow, that's really good, bro. I cannot do that with a regen for sure. I don't even know if we did that with an obelisk, but that was very nice, and that was my first try, right? We just rolled into this. Wow, okay. So what a surprise. Rage is good for tier 4s. Shocker. Did we already proc our rage? Wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Losing a lot of HP here. So, okay, that was... So, you sort of see... You sort of see both ends of the spectrum. That was by far... That was absurd. That was absurd speed. Okay, just to give you... Like, I'm rattled right now. He almost died. Hulk almost died, which is terrifying, right? Not cool. On the flip side, on the other hand, that was way faster, like absurdly Naruto running through the street faster than any other setup that I had tried. There's no way. That was under 100. That was under 90 seconds. That was 85 seconds. It took me 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes, right? It took me more than 200 seconds to do that with a regen, and I think it took me about 2 minutes or 120 seconds, or maybe 2 minutes and a half. I think it took me 2 minutes or 2 minutes and a half to clear it with an obelisk. But I'll just refer to the whatever's on the screen with the playback, because I tested this yesterday. But yeah, that was brutal. That was insane. Let's see how he does versus Mephisto. I'm very worried about his survivability, but I'm not worried about his damage. Wow, his damage is disgusting. Holy, I really want to test him on speed day for GBR now, because that is just absolutely bonkers, dude. Those numbers are humongous. Pop the 6. So I was actually wrong about Hulk's rotation as well. I was pretty salty in the comments, talking to a couple of people on YouTube and also on Discord when they criticized my Hulk rotation, because literally every time I come out with a review of a tier 4, people tell me I have the wrong rotation, and most of the time they're wrong and I don't have the wrong rotation, but sometimes they're right and sometimes I'm wrong. And so this is one of those situations where I was wrong, and it's important to acknowledge when you're wrong. My rage proc is not active, so that's kind of a bummer. I'm just gonna co-op here and do it again because I want to have it on the rage proc. I want to see if he survives this as well. He does, but it's a little sketchy, eh? So we can actually... Oh, if he didn't cutscene me... If he didn't cutscene me, we could actually keep going there. So anyways, what I was wrong about with Hulk's rotation... Wow, he died. What I was wrong about with Hulk's rotation is the 6th skill. You actually do want to do... When your 6th skill is ready, when your tier 3 is ready, you actually do want to play it before the 4, because the 6 actually has a buff, and the buff seems weird. It seems like a normal frenzy buff, but it's not. It's not a normal frenzy buff. So you actually want to do 6 before. I was doing 4 and then 6, because when I was testing them out individually, 6 has a lot less damage than 4. So I was like, why should I prioritize 6 when 4 has so much damage? I got snared there, which is kind of unfortunate. Here, you can actually die to the purple circles, which is also very unfortunate, because saying that Hulk can die anywhere is kind of embarrassing. But yeah, you want to do 6 into 4 because you get this huge burst in damage, which is very nice. We're going to do the co-op. I also just love how, regardless of who is with Hulk, he always does the 4th skill on co-op. I love that. At least so far in the teams I've tested. Oh, he teleported to the middle, so he dodged most of my damage. Unfortunate. Let's just squeeze out one more hit here. So, funny enough, this is actually pretty similar speed to the obelisk. So, yeah, this is pretty interesting. The obelisk actually might have been a little bit faster than this. I have to go back and check my notes, or just show you guys on screen or whatever. But yeah, this is I think this is slower than the obelisk. This might be the same speed as the obelisk or a little bit slower. So it's actually really funny. I'm guessing that the obelisk might be faster or as fast as the rage for Null and Mephisto, but we know that the rage CTP has a huge bonus versus Gore and Infinity Ultron. Well, we know that it has it versus Ultron. We're sort of figuring out that it also has it versus Gore, because They're more difficult world boss legends. They have higher defenses, which is also why Rage is so good versus Dormammu as well, for kind of the same reason. He's like an end game piece of content, so he has very, very high defenses. But yeah, so Rage way outperformed the Obelisk versus Gore, and I'm guessing it's gonna way outperform the Obelisk versus Dormammu as well. But let's go ahead and see. We're really waiting for this next rotation. This one right here, when we do 6 into 4. This should be the money maker, as long as our Rage procs. Wow, we still weren't able to one-shot. Ah, wow. I think if my Rage proc hadn't have been late... So we got pretty close with the Obelisk as well. I think we got close to like 10 bars. But we couldn't make it, eh? Wow. Okay. Interesting, interesting. I probably should have saved the tier 4 buff, but that's okay. The other thing here, which is unfortunately probably going to be shown with the Rage, is that he can die. He can die in this fight versus Dormammu, and you sort of have to dodge at some point, which is so annoying because having to dodge with Hulk is so embarrassing. It feels like his damage is insane, though. Like, I gotta say, this damage is very, very good. We're flying right now. Oh my god, that's so much damage. What? Bro, we're less than a minute and a half into this. Wow, he's blitzing this content. Wow, yeah, this is crazy. But yeah, the fact that he can die is kind of upsetting. And the last thing you want to do is, you know, have to run from attacks with the Hulk, you know? I mean, he's the Hulk for a reason, right? But you'll see. If I can dodge a lot of these orbs, or you know what? Maybe I don't need to dodge if he can just do so much damage. But see, look at this. He's almost dead. So there I got kind of lucky. That orb could have killed me. And actually, I just died. Yeah. So that's really annoying. I wanted to showcase that as much as I wanted to showcase. So he probably would have cleared this in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's insanely fast. That's an insanely fast clear. He would have cleared that with 7 minutes and 40 seconds. That's crazy fast. That's like a minute faster than the regen. And a minute in this kind of content is absurd. Gaining a minute in a clear like this is crazy. However, him being able to die and you having to dodge does kind of take me out of the immersion of playing as Hulk. Now, some people might say that I'm being petty or I'm being too critical of him and I'm really trying to sell the regen, but honestly, the regen does give me the most authentic Hulk experience, where I can literally Hulk out. I can also just turn off my brain and I can just spam the rotation and he does great damage and he's basically immortal and he cannot die. And you know what? He's the only character in the game. That's a unique thing for him. Basically, the only other character in the game that could maybe do that at this point is Juggernaut. And I don't even know if he could do that versus stage 34 Gore, but I know for sure that Hulk can. So there you have it. That's kind of the breakdown. I cannot solely 100% guarantee or sort of recommend any one CTP. You really have to pick. Obviously, if you're a budget player, the Obelisk is an awesome option for you, and I'm glad that Hulk gives you that option, right? Like a max HP proc Obelisk like this one that we had here. That's an awesome option. And then if you're not a budget player and you have some CTPs to play with, it really depends. If you just want to go max DPS, big numbers, America, go for the Rage. If you want a balance of both and you want to feel like you'll never die regardless of how poorly you play or how much you face tank, go with a regen. And then if you're an absolute degenerate monster, go with a brilliant regen and literally watch your opponents weep as they run up against a truly immortal, immovable wall, which is what I'm going to be giving him soon when I take this off Spidey. And you can see he's scared, so he's running away. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the video. Thank you so much for watching. We worked hard on this one, so smash the like button, share it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.